Esmeralda's Wandering Heart and the Mystery of the Lost Amulet. Scene 1. The bustling market, an unexpected encounter between carts. The air vibrated with the aroma of exotic spices, the sound from the accordion music and the lively haggling of Willow Creek's annual town market. Esmeralda, with her jet-black hair falling in rebellious cascades and her bright green eyes like a mirror, genuine Aldas, she sold freshly cut wildflowers from her colorful cart. Her laughter, melodious and contagious, mingled with the bustle. Suddenly, a whirlwind of clumsiness and fine fabric had burst into his quiet corner. A tall, lanky young man, dressed in clothes too elegant for the occasion, tripped over a basket of apples, sending them rolling across the floor. He was Alistair Fink, the son of the wealthy local landowner, known for his brilliant intellect and his utter lack of physical coordination. "Oh heavens, I'm so terribly sorry," exclaimed Alistair, his face reddening, while trying to pick up the elusive apples. Esmeralda let out a burst of laughter. "It seems the apples have decided to flee, young sir." Alistair looked up and was captivated. I adore the lively beauty of Esmeralda and the mischievous sparkle in her eyes. "Finch, Alistair Finch," he presented himself, offering a hand clumsily. Esmeralda took his hand, her own brown skin contrasting con la pallidez de la d'elle. "Esmeralda, and don't worry about the apples, they tend to be quite rowdy." This first encounter, chaotic and full of laughter, sowed a seed of mutual curiosity between the free-spirited gypsy and the absent-minded scholar. Visualization. Vibrant and colorful market scene, with stalls full of merchandise, people moving and cheerful music. The clumsy stumble, oh my Alistair, the apples rolling. Close-up of the hand-meeting between Esmeralda, lively beauty, contagious smile, and Alistair, elegant clumsiness, surprise and fascination in his eyes. Scene 2. Hand-reading. An unusual proposal. Days later, Alistair looked for Esmeralda's wagon, feeling inexplicably drawn to her energy and her so different perspective of the world to his. He found her reading an old woman's hand with comical seriousness. When she finished, Alistair approached timidly. "Esmeralda, would you have time for me?" Esmeralda arched one eyebrow with mischief. "Do you want me to reveal your future, Finch? Prepare yourself to discover that you will marry a goat and inherit a collection of defective postage stamps." Alistair laughed, a surprisingly pleasant sound. "Actually, I had a different proposal. I'm researching local customs and legends for an essay, and I was wondering if you could share some of the stories of your people." Esmeralda looked at him curiously. "So the scholar Finch is interested in gypsy folklore, eh? Interesting." She agreed to help him, in exchange for him helping her load water for their flowers. During their meetings, while Alistair diligently took notes and Esmeralda shared stories full of magic and ancestral wisdom, an unexpected connection began to flourish between them, woven with humor and a growing mutual admiration. Visualization. Esmeralda reading the hand with exaggerated gestures and a funny expression. The arrival of Alistair, his clumsy proposal. Scenes of their later encounters. Alistair taking notes seriously while Esmeralda gesticulates while telling stories, both laughing together. Scene 3. The Lost Amulet. An involuntary adventure. One day, Esmeralda noticed that her lucky charm, a small silver pendant with a turquoise stone that had belonged to her grandmother, had disappeared. She was distressed, since the amulet had great sentimental value for her. Alistair, seeing her sadness, offered to help her find it. Despite his general ineptitude, his logical mind and attention to detail, the details turned out surprisingly useful. Together, they went through the market, asking the vendors and rummaging through the lost objects. Their search led them to comical situations. Alistair tripping over awnings, misinterpreting clues, and being tricked by a shrewd trinket seller. Esmeralda, with her quick wit and knowledge of the local community, got him out of. "I am constantly pressured," Through this improvised adventure, the dynamic between them changed. Alistair discovered Esmeralda's cunning and loyalty, while she saw beyond his clumsiness too, appreciating her intelligence and her genuine desire to help. Visualization. Esmeralda discovering the loss of the amulet, her expression of anguish, Alistair offering to help enthusiastically, despite awe of his clumsiness. Comic scenes of his search in the market. Alistair tripping, being confused, Esmeralda intervening with wit. Scene 4. The Gypsy Party, a dance under the stars and misunderstandings. Esmeralda invited Alistair to a gypsy party that her community celebrated in a forest clearing under the full moon. Alistair was fascinated by the passionate music, the energetic wings, and an atmosphere of freedom and joy. Esmeralda, with her vibrantly colored dress, danced with hypnotic grace, her movements telling ancestral stories. Alistair the Obs. He was captivated by the herb, feeling an irresistible attraction. Animated by the wine and the festive atmosphere, Alistair tried to join the dance, with disastrous and comical results, stepping on feet and losing the rhythm. Esmeralda laughed heartily, taking his hand and patiently guiding him. However, the night took an unexpected turn when a young gypsy girl, with a clear interest in Alistair, began. She openly flirted with him. Esmeralda, seeing the scene, felt a pang of jealousy, a new and uncomfortable feeling for her. Without saying a word, she walked away, leaving Alistair confused. Visualization. Magical scene of the gypsy party under the moonlight, with bonfires, accordion music, and people dancing passionately. Esmeralda dancing with grace and beauty. Alistair trying to dance awkwardly, causing laughter. The scene of the young gypsy flirting with Alistair. Esmeralda's reaction of silent jealousy. Scene 5. The clarification and an act of clumsy bravery. Alistair, of concerned by Esmeralda's sudden distancing, he looked for her the following day. He found her collecting herbs in the forest with a melancholic expression on her face. "Esmeralda, what's wrong? Did I bother you last night?" Alistair asked with genuine concern. Esmeralda hesitated for a moment before confessing her confusion. "I don't know, Finch. I've never felt anything like this before. Seeing Zita with you made me feel strange." Alistair blushed slightly. "Zita was only being friendly. My heart was with you, Esmeralda, from the moment I stumbled upon your apples." In that instantly, a group of rough men, known for their hostility towards the Romani community, burst into the clearing, accusing Esmeralda of robbing them. The situation became tense and threatening. Because of his peaceful nature and lack of fighting skills, Alistair bravely stood between the men and Esmeralda, stammering clumsily but firmly in her defense. His act expected of bravery, although comical in its execution, it surprised the aggressors and gave the Romani community time to arrive and calm the situation. Visualization. Calm scene of Esmeralda gathering herbs in the forest, her sad expression. Alistair's approach, his worried question. Esmeralda's confession of jealousy. The sudden eruption of hostile men. Alistair awkwardly but bravely interposing itself between them and Esmeralda. Scene 6. The stolen kiss and the reappeared amulet. After the incident, the tension between Esmeralda and Alistair had dissipado, replaced by an undeniable warmth and closeness. Alistair had demonstrated his worth, albeit in a peculiar way, and Esmeralda had recognized the sincerity of his feelings. Well, as they walked back to the gypsy camp, a comfortable silence settled between them. Suddenly, Alistair stopped and, with adorable clumsiness, took Esmeralda's hand. "Esmeralda," he said, looking. He looked into her eyes with a sincerity that made her heart beat faster. "I think I'm falling in love with you, with your free spirit, your laughter, your everything." Before Esmeralda could respond her, Alistair leaned down and stole a soft but longing kiss. It was a clumsy kiss at first, but quickly became sweet and meaningful. When they separated, blushing and with the heart beating strongly, Esmeralda noticed something shiny among the roots of a nearby tree. It was her lost amulet. "My amulet!" she exclaimed, picking it up joyfully. You found it somehow. Manner. Alistair smiled awkwardly. I suppose even a klutz like me can get lucky sometimes. The amulet's reappearance seemed an omen, a symbol of the good fortune their connection I would bring to their lives. Visualization. A peaceful walk back to the camp. Alistair taking Esmeralda's hand and confessing his love sincerely. The stolen kiss, initially clumsy but then sweet. Esmeralda finding her bright amulet among the roots of a tree. Scene 7. Overcoming barriers. Acceptance and shared dance. The relationship between the gypsy and the scholar, it was not without challenges. Alistair's community looked upon Esmeralda and her people with suspicion, fueling prejudices and rumors. Esmeralda's own Romani community was protective and distrustful, from the Payos. However, the love between Esmeralda and Alistair was stubborn and fun, able to overcome barriers with ingenuity and affection. Alistair learned some Romani phrases, although with a disastrous 100 that made Esmeralda laugh. She, in turn, tried to understand Alistair's intricate academic debates, although most of the time she ended up yawning comically. With the time, their genuine love and their mutual respect began to break down the walls. Alistair defended Esmeralda and her community to his family and friends, highlighting her wisdom and spirit. Esmeralda. With his warmth and open heart, he slowly gained the acceptance of some of the most curious members of the Alistair community. In a joint celebration, where the gypsy traditions, they mixed with the local customs, Esmeralda and Alistair danced together under the stars. Alistair, although still a little clumsy, had improved remarkably, guided by Esmeralda's laughter and love. Esmeralda. Her imperfect but joyful dance symbolized the union of her two worlds. Visualization. Scenes of Alistair attempting to speak Romani with a funny accent, causing ease laughter. Esmeralda patiently listening to Alistair's academic explanations, yawning comically. Alistair defending Esmeralda before her community. The joint celebration with music and dances of both cultures. Esmeralda guiding Alistair as they danced together under the stars, their dance imperfect but full of love. Scene 8. An uncertain future but full of love and laughter. The future of Esmeralda and Alistair was uncertain. Their life paths were very different, and the expectations of their communities sometimes clashed. However, their love, built on laughter, acceptance, he and a pinch of charming clumsiness, was his anchor. They knew there would be challenges, misunderstandings, and perhaps even the need to make difficult decisions. But they also knew that, while they had one to the other, they could face anything with a smile and an open heart. In the last scene we see Esmeralda and Alistair traveling together in her cart. End.